Divine Nutrition Products believes in supplying the consumer with the highest quality products available. Their natural isolate line of protein is comprised of whey protein isolate made from grass-fed protein, featuring brand new flavors like vanilla peanut butter and pound cake. Divine Nutrition Products is the preferred supplement of rising IFBB Pro Figure champion Sydney Gillen, winner of the 2016 Miami Beach Muscle Pro.
Hey, this is Sydney Gillen, IFBB Figure Pro champion. I love Divine Nutrition products, especially the pound cake as soon as I get that one, but my favorite right now is vanilla peanut butter. It's so delicious.
Visit us at divinenutritionproducts.com.
This is John Hansen for FloridaPhysique.com. We're at the NPC Southeast Classic in Hollywood, Florida. I'm here with my friend Santiago Aragon. Santi, how you doing?
How you doing, John? Thanks for having me as usual.
Yeah, well, I want to talk to you now because you just did your pro debut, the one you were training for, because you took last year off, right? Mm-hmm. And you're getting all ready for your pro debut. So that was the Muscle Beach, Miami Beach Muscle Pro.
15 names. 15 names on it.
And I thought you looked fantastic, and I thought you had the best posing routine along you and Darren Charles, who was just here. You guys had the best posing routines of the house.
Well, we always, me and Darren, from what I've followed him for years, and we always just try to, we both have completely different styles in posing, but you could see that we put a lot of work into our posing and presentation. So I think that the crowd really enjoys it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you did In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins, so you're old school, yeah?
I did. I'm there in the car, and my girlfriend Ariel, we're sitting there, and I told her, I'm like, oh, this song, she never heard the song before. I don't know how.
She's too young.
I don't know how. And I'm like, this used to be Miami Vice. This was the song for Miami Vice.
You remember that, yeah, TV show.
The Miami Vice song, and my dad used to always tell me, this is the Miami Vice song. And I just put two and two together. I'm like, why don't I do this song for the Miami show? It just makes sense. So I don't know if anybody put two and two together, but I love the song. I'm glad I did it.
Now, we talked about this before, but I know you're a classical poser, and who were your influences when you were, when you put together a posing routine?
Lee Labrada, number one, yeah, by far.
I could see some of Lee Labrada's stuff in your.
We have similar shape, and we're both shorter, and I feel like a lot of the shots that he hits, I try to emulate. I mean, my signature pose right now is pretty much a pose that he does in all his routines, and nobody really hits that pose. So I just kind of adopted that pose from him, and I just get a lot of influence from all his routines.
Yeah, I remember when he first hit that pose. The one he did. I think it was at the '88 Olympia where he was like from the back and he had his legs spread out and he put his hands up and he went up on his toes. Nobody ever saw that before.
It was the complete victory pose kind of thing, but on his tippy toes, like a big X from the back, and just everything was engaged. It was insane.
See all his conditioning, right?
Yeah, it was insane. That was a crazy pose. I can't hit that pose anymore because they cut the Classic Physique. Now they cover you, but yeah, that pose is awesome.
Now, that's the other thing we want to talk about. You're going to make the change from bodybuilding, from 212 bodybuilding over to Classic Physique.
Yes, that's correct. I made the decision even before I did the 212 show. Oh, really? I knew ahead of time that was going to be my first and my last 212 show. I wanted to kind of get a taste for it and see what it was. But to be honest, I'm looking ahead at, health-wise, and I'm looking into the future on how I can utilize, marketing myself a lot better in this industry. And when you take all those things combined, 212 bodybuilding for me is just not the right fit. I respect all the guys that do and compete in the 212 class, but for me personally, it was just not the right fit.
What did you weigh for your show?
I had all my clothes on, but I did weigh myself early in the morning before prejudging, and I was 177. Okay. Yeah, which is almost 15 pounds more than when I got my pro card. So in 1 year, which is
some great improvement. Yeah.
I made a lot of great improvements. I knew that we put in the work in this off season, and now I have to cut some of the improvements that I did make, unfortunately, so that I can do this Classic Physique division. But I'm really happy that I'm going to be doing it.
But if you were going to stay in the 212, you'd have to go up another 30 pounds.
That's what the judges' critique was with me. They said, before I even said anything, they mentioned nothing about conditioning or at presentation. They said 20 to 30 pounds. Yeah. And I just can't see myself putting my body through having to gain because 20 to 30 pounds of muscle is just not 20 to 30 pounds. You're talking about maybe 50 pounds, with fat and water and all that stuff. And I just don't think that my organs and my joints and everything can handle that amount of weight, every year.
Not only that, Santi, but you're going to change the look of your physique. I don't want to say ruin it. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but you're going to change the look of your physique.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you want to build a physique that you want. You want to be able to look in the mirror and be proud of what you built. And I don't think that me at a 230 pounds in the off season, I'm going to be very proud of what I built. I mean, yeah, it would be a journey and it would be a lot of work. But I think that just me looking at my physique, I just wouldn't be happy with the way that it'll look at that size. So I like myself downsized. I like dieting. I like being lean. I like being shredded year round. So I think that this will keep me in check, and I don't have to go up into an off season to gain so much weight and eat so much, force myself to eat so much.
Well, what I think of with bodybuilding is I think about sculpting the perfect physique. It's not about weight. It's not about just putting on more size. It's about building the physique that's right for you. And if that's 3 pounds or 30 pounds, but I think after a certain size limit, you start to ruin the aesthetics of the physique. And I think Lee Labrada said that. Bob Paris said that. Arnold Schwarzenegger said that when he was competing. Arnold would compete at, I think, 235, and he didn't want to go over. He could have went over that.
It could have ruined his taper. It could have brought. I mean, Arnold really didn't have the smallest waist on the planet, so it could have affected his waist just by adding that. And you had mentioned that Lee had brought it up, and Lee, I listen to this quote all the time that bodybuilding is not about the most massive man, it's about the most perfect man. It's about the most perfect man. And if you think that you can build the most perfect self of you and that's not what maybe the judges want, then I would always say 100% go with what you want to build, because you're going to have to live in this physique every single day, not them.
Well, it's good that we have the Classic Physique, I guess, that you can, choose to do that instead of the 212.
Yes, and they also bring light into creativity again and presentation, which is, I think, is the root of bodybuilding. It's always been the root of presenting yourself as making it as creative and as possible, and so that it becomes artistic again, and it's not a freak show. That it's something that somebody could sit down and watch and entertain. It's very entertaining, almost like, I wouldn't say like Cirque du Soleil, because there's no skills like that, but something that you could sit there and really appreciate, be like
an art form,
and be like, wow, I would love to have a physique like that, and it's attainable. If I work hard, I can maybe look like that one day. I sit there at the Olympia and I'm like, I could never get to a Flex Lewis or these guys. It's just out of it, So I like that they bring light again into the posing and presentation of bodybuilding again.
I think you're one of the few out there that is really focusing on the presentation and on making it better. So let's talk about your Paragon posing. This is your new business where you're teaching people how to pose.
Yes, I go into all these local shows and I get so frustrated all the time because I see guys that work so hard on their physiques and their diet and they do everything right, and then they blow it when they get